Hi folks, welcome to this week's Inside Tip, the Scottish Sun. As always, we've got Jim Delahunt here with me. Jim, last week we watched Thistle run the race of his life, just beat by John Bond. Career best for Thistle. A horse we've banged on about all season so far. Champion Chase next. He more than deserves to take his chance in this lineup now, doesn't he?
He's got to go, Robert. Where else would he go? I mean, he's had a fantastic season, graduating from a little handicap and progressing all the way through to that tremendous performance last weekend. I mean, at one point I thought he was going to win, and then John Bond came and did him late. But no, fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Everybody knows the history of this horse now. Bought for £11,000, has escalated up the handicap ranks to a point where else would he go after being second in that fantastic race at Ascot? He might as well go for the Champion Chase. There have been some strange results in that race over the years, so especially when you think back to horses who've been well clear and falling and stuff like that. But the great days of Badsworth Boy and horses like that are long gone, and I think anything with that kind of handicap rating has to give it a go. I mean, what's the point in waiting with a horse like that? I mean, he's progressed up the handicap. He's in the form of his life. I think he's improved in every single race this season, ratings-wise. So why not have a crack at the Champion Chase? I mean, we said last week there was money, decent money for third and fourth last week, and he ended up getting the decent money for second. So why not go for the Champion Chase and maybe finish second or third and add another few quid to what's already a nicely topped up pot?
Just on the subject of the Champion Chase, I mean, everybody that I've seen Barry Connell's comments now about Marine Nationale and how he's going to scud these, and it was a nonsense race at Ascot, etc., etc. You've been a big Marine Nationale fan. Did you come away from that thinking, yeah, he's a Champion Chase winner now?
Yeah, I've got to confess, Barry Connell's right. Marine Nationale is going to hose up at Cheltenham as he would have done at Leopardstown if he hadn't screwed that third fence. I mean, that mistake was unbelievable. Jockey nearly out the side door, and he still nearly won. A clear round at Cheltenham, which I'm sure he'll get. I've just said there's some shock results in the Champion Chase, and now I'm saying he'll get a clear round. But you know what I mean? I think if Marine Nationale turns up and jumps as well as he can and is in the form of his life, which I'm sure Barry Connell will have, I'm starting to think 6-4 is looking pretty good.
Talking of jumping, we said, both of us said we were going to sit our hands with Miletown and just see him get a clear round of jumping. He never got that. Clattered one, his race was over. I think everybody's pretty much in agreement that he should have won that race. This is just becoming too much of a habit now, Jim. Gold Cup probably off the agenda now. Back to the Ultima for a second go at that. Do you think it's maybe time to make a change there, bring Patrick Wadge back on it, or do you just think they need to do something just to snap the horse out of this habit of making mistakes?
Yeah, I've seen all the online stuff like everybody else, and I'm sure Derek Fox has seen it. If not, I'm sure his family have told him about it. It doesn't look good for him in terms of the fact that the horse isn't jumping for him. And of course, it goes and wins at Cheltenham under a different jockey. So some of the best jockeys in the world have been jocked off in their day. I mean, Lester Piggott used to jock off all sorts of top class jockeys in his day. I'm old enough to remember Tony Mullins being jocked off Don Run, and John Joe O'Neill went on and won a champion hurdle and a Gold Cup. So you got to think that there will come a point where owners and trainers will think that it's time to change the jockey. How do you jock off a lad that's won 2 Grand Nationals and is the only currently licensed jockey to have won 2 Grand Nationals? It's a very difficult call, but you're just wondering if it's get to the stage where they might just want to give it a try.
Yeah, just I think maybe in this specific case, it might just be just try something different. We just need to try
Yeah,
something
yeah,
different just to snap the horse out of the mistakes he's making. Because it was travelling the dream again, travelling
yeah.
absolutely beautifully, and then just I don't know whether the horse seems to switch off or there's a disconnect between the pair of them or whatever. I don't know. I've never sat in a horse, but it's like a football team no scoring goals. You change the striker in the end, don't you?
Yeah, I suspect so. And there was just one thing I would say in Derek Fox's defence here. And I think it should be said, Meyertown is not a great jumper. I mean, he gets into a rhythm and he can look good, but he's always going to throw one in. So you want the guy on top to be able to cope with that. And so far, Derek's not done that. So I think that's the point we're making here.
Yeah, and then well, the Cheltenham novice entries were out, Jim. Five
Yeah,
Northern entries over the whole meeting. Very, very low once again. Obviously, Conman John is not going to go to the festival. Our colleague Ed Watson broke that story during the week
yeah.
that Conman John's going to be kept for entry instead. Are you surprised about that, or do you think that makes a bit of sense?
I was a wee bit disappointed with that. I thought Conman John had probably earned the right to go to Cheltenham, if that's the right way of putting it. But Lucinda Russell will know best, as she will do with the jockey change or not jockey change that we've just been talking about. But yeah, I was a wee bit disappointed. I thought Conman John looked as if he might be one of our better hopes for giving the North a winner down there. But you're right, it's a trend, isn't it? I mean, there are not enough Northern horses good enough to contest Grade 1s at Cheltenham. It's just a fact of life, I'm afraid, and we just have to get on with it.
Well, talking about Cheltenham, that's where we are this weekend with the trials meeting. A few reputations going to be put on the line, including a fascinating Unibet Hurdle, but we'll come to that later. The 12:05, Jim, 2.5 mile novice handicap. Have you got a selection in that for us?
Yeah, I quite fancy one here, Robert. Hate to have the bets down early on a Saturday, but I really quite fancy Barlow Vento here. It's the 5 past 12, the time form novices handicap chase. It's a 40 grand race, 2.5 miles, and I think Barlow Vento finished second at Exeter on debut and then followed that up with a really good win at Kempton next time. Now, that form hasn't been totally tested, but I did notice that the fifth horse that day, that race was in Boxing Day, Queensberry Boy. He went on to finish second to Guard the Moon at Windsor last weekend, so that wasn't too bad. The fifth from that race coming out and finishing second in a very good novices chase at Windsor last weekend. So while the form hasn't been fully tested, I really like the way Barlovento did it. And you always look to the sponsors here, Time Form. They've got him second top rated, only a pound behind the top rated. So I think that's good enough for me. Sean Bowen and Ollie Murphy know what they're doing with these novices, both hurdles and fences. And Barlovento, I thought, was a good way to get the day off to a good start. Fingers crossed anyway.
The other money's certainly come for it, Jim. It's been backed into favourite now. Other one the
Yeah.
money's come for is Push the Button for the
Yep.
Walford stable. I thought you look at the form at Ascot behind Steel Alley, and then that was boosted with no questions asked winning at Windsor last week. And then you saw a horse that had beat it at Wetherby, Meet Me by the Sea, who was hugely
Yeah.
impressive at here. That's got some interesting form. So more than deserves to take his chance in here. But that one's opened up at 6 to 1. It's been nibbled away at as well. So
Yeah.
we'll move on to the 115. Another Cheltenham. It has to be a 2.5 mile handicap chase at Cheltenham. No, they can't have any single meeting without a 2.5 mile handicap chase.
And they've all got to be worth 100 grand as well. So the one I fancy here, it's a bit of a broken record with Ollie Murphy and Sean Bowen, but Booster Bob is, as I'm sure regular viewers will know, a horse I've been waiting for to come back out. Won at Newbury in November. He's been given a £9 hike for that. Ollie Murphy has had him entered up all over the place, even declared him a couple of times, but he didn't run. So Booster Bob, finally, I think, is going to get a run in this 100 grand handicap at Cheltenham on Saturday. Now, he is up £9. We've got to take that into consideration, but he has been impressive coming from behind under Bowen. He looks like the horse that, just the exact type of horse that Bowen loves to ride. He's able to sit out the back. He knows he's got a turn of foot when he needs it, and he can pretty much rely on his jumping once he warms up. So Booster Bob is the one for me, despite having not run for 8 weeks. He has never run at Cheltenham. That's a slight worry, but he has won 6 of his 7 wins left-handed. So left-handed is certainly the way to go with him. So I'm not too worried about that. But I think you would certainly nominate Prairie Wolf as a chance against them, Robert.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it ran a blinder for us at Newbury when it finished third at the Hennessy meeting, and then followed up by coming out and winning at Aintree. It actually had a 10 length defeat by Thistleask at Wetherby, giving it
Yeah.
£16. So that doesn't look too bad for him either. So I just think Prairie Wolf's consistent. He should be up with the pace as well, so which you need to be over 2.5 at Cheltenham. I thought 14 to 1 each way makes a bit of appeal there. Actually, the other one I thought was Javert Alain. There's
Yeah.
a bit of form there where he raced from Aintree with Mambo number 5, Highlands
Yeah.
Legacy, and Glen Gooley have all come out of, and Javert Alain gave them weight the weight that day. So stepping up in trip, but from the family of Eldorado Allen, Gladiator Allen, so that shouldn't be a problem at all. The only thing is the stable terrible record at Cheltenham. I didn't realise Jane Williams' record at Cheltenham was as bad as it is, but
Ah,
I don't think she's had a winner
right. Didn't know
at
that.
Cheltenham for a long time. So I was a bit surprised at that. But unless the stats I were looking at were wrong, but they certainly couldn't see a winner for a while. So then the 150, Jim, cross country.
Yeah, cross country. I've been really interested in cross country this season because I've taken a shine to final orders from the Gavin Cromwell yard. We were all worried that his horses weren't running well enough. over the past few weeks, but he was interviewed before Gowran Park on Thursday, and he said they've all been finishing second and third. He said if they'd been finished first and second, nobody would have said a word. But there you go. He turned up at Gowran Park on Thursday. Bish bash bosh, a treble in the bag, including the Thyestes Chase, which he won with his horse winning right on the line coming from behind. So Gavin Cromwell's horses are back as if they were ever away. And he sends this final orders back to Cheltenham where he won last time. And the key to this is the way that Keith Donoghue rode it last time. I thought Keith Donoghue gave it a dream ride last time. He conserved energy all the way round. He only won as far as he wanted to win by. The horse was so superior on the day. He's been given a £9 rise for that. I think they thought they might have got 12. So £9 isn't too bad at all in my book. They've muddied the water slightly, Robert, by running another horse called Peaches and Cream, which goes under Alex Harvey, the claimer, a very good claimer. So Peaches and Cream is nominated for this race as well by Gavin Cromwell. But I think final orders, they'll be hoping to win another race, especially with 35 grand in the pot. And final orders, my selection under the brilliant in these races, Keith Donoghue.
I've just went and checked Jane Williams' record at Cheltenham, just in case I was going mad. I'm right, she's trained a bumper winner there, but is one winner for 41 runners at the track, so it's not the best
Not
record.
Brilliant.
For somebody who's had such nice horses over the last few years. So anyway, we'll move on, Jim. We've got the Cotswold Chase, 3 mile grade 2. Surely Grey Donny has to win this if he's a Gold Cup horse.
He does, Robert. I wouldn't be having a bet. It's for the next 3 races. I'll just be watching. But yeah, Grey Donning has to go and do it. I think Dan and Harry have been pretty bullish that he might just go and do it. I hope for their sake he does. But it is interesting that Long Press is in there. Floating Porter again. Gavin Cromwell. He's given that a blast with Keith in the saddle and getting weight, getting £6 from Grey Donning. And of course, the one we don't really know about is Spillane's Tower. It's a JP McManus horse with Jimmy Mangan. I see he's booked Jack Kennedy, so that should be interesting. Spillane's Tower going back over fences. Looked a very good, promising horse last year. He's now 8, so he's got to go and do it this weekend if he is going to be a contender. But as you say, I think Grey Donning has to go and win. So one to watch, but just keep an eye on Spillane's Tower. Even if he doesn't win this weekend, I still think this horse has got a future.
There's a strange bit of campaigning that horse over the years, isn't it? It did show a wee bit more life over hurdles the last time, did it not?
Yeah, it did, but it ran first time over hurdles and they thought it would win and it didn't. So yeah, I do still think it's a good horse. I do still think it's got a future. I do still think there's a really big race in it, especially only 8-year-old. It's certainly got time on its side. But you would think if Grey Donning's all it's cracked up to be, he'll give it £6. So we'll see.
And then at 3 o'clock, we've got the Unibet Hurdle, where we've got champion hurdle favourite Sir Gino against Dan Skelton's The New Lion. How do you sum this one up, Jim? Sir Gino, if he kicks on for the Christmas hurdle, does he make mincemeat of him?
He should. Yeah, he should. Absolutely. Again, not a betting race for me. It's one to watch. The New Lion, we didn't really find out much about him, falling the same as Constitution Hill did in the Fighting Fifth. So that'll be interesting. But the muddying of the waters for me this week has been Constitution Hill. All this jokey chat coming from Nicky Henderson about hoping that it's iced up down the back straight and all the hurdles in home straight are left out because of afternoon sunshine at Cheltenham. I mean, do they think this horse is a champion hurdler or not? So you got to bear that in mind. Do they think they've got Constitution Hill, the champion hurdler, back home, and Sir Gino is just the insurance policy, and he might go for the champion chase? Who knows? So it'll be interesting to see if Sir Gino routs them here on Saturday, and whether he is the number 1 for Cheltenham, or after that Southall 40 grand novice race, they're going to go to the champion hurdle and win it with Constitution Hill. I really don't know. I'm confused, totally confused.
We still don't know whether the New Lion's a 2-miler or not. I mean, Dan Skelton was adamant, oh no, that's Newcastle, that's proved to me he's a 2-miler, but he didn't finish the race, so we don't know. He was getting rousted along. Golden Ace was only a length behind him when he fell, and he was getting rousted along, so I don't think you can say definitively he's a 2-miler or not. Absolutely fascinating race. No interest in betting in it, but it's going to be a fantastic watch. And then in 3:35, Jim, we've got the Cleeve Hurdle, Imposed Twag and Strong Leader once again. It's the same outcome, is it not?
Yeah, I think so. It's a 2-horse race. I've had my fingers burnt twice with Strong Leader, so I'm just going to watch him win on Saturday. he'll probably go and reverse that form with Imposed Trois, we shall see. But like you, it's a two-horse race. Two horses battling it out for the biggest chunk of the 70 grand prize, over 3 miles. Again, one to watch, and good luck to all of them. Mashan too, there's a little bit of a whisper for that one from the Emma Lavelle yard getting weight, but I think it is between those top two in the market, and we'll just see what happens.
4:10, 2.5 mile novice hurdle. We spoke last week about how Gordon Elliott and Willie Mullins hadn't tested the water over in Britain much this year. Elliott brings one over, and I believe you fancy it.
I do. I think it's a huge price. I looked at it on Thursday night. It was trading just about everywhere at 33 to 1 in an 8-runner race. So no doubt there'll be an on-runner and we don't get the each way value. But I do think if we do get the 8 runners, this is a tremendous each way bet from the Gordon Elliott yard. Now, he had 3 in this Grade 2 novices hurdle over 2.5 miles. He's decided to rely on Open Secret, which will be the mount of Jack Kennedy. Now, this horse has won last time at Naas. The horse which finished 7 lengths second went on to win at Limerick. So the form is fine. He's a former flat horse, so that's interesting going up against proper jumping types. But the fact that Elliott is sending him over for this race, I think is very, very interesting. You know that Taurus Bay is a good horse. You know that the Blue Room's a good horse. You know that Active Innocence is going to go off favourite. I just think there's each way value here, and he might even go and win. But Open Secret each way for the Elliott yard. I think the form is good enough in Ireland to come here and have a crack. And I'm just hoping that at those odds, we're not going mad here. At those odds, he's an each way bet.
Yeah, I'm just having a look here, Jim, just to see what price he is now. Huh, we've been done. He's 40 to 1 in a place.
Oh dear, I should have
You're gonna,
waited.
you're gonna have to go back in.
I should have waited.
We'll move up to Doncaster, where the main event there is the Great Yorkshire Chase over 3 miles. Docpickedme, last year's winner, coming back to try and win it again. He's only £2 higher. Charlie Mag's on again. He's got form figures of 1, 1, 2, pulled up 1 at the track. So there's loads in his favour again.
Yeah.
But there's 2 young pretenders in Deep Cave and Grand Geste who are going to pester him for the lead, you would imagine, and are going to be primed to try and win this. I mean, Deep Cave only went up £2 for winning at Ascot, which could be quite lenient in the end. Probably needs to win here to go, or does need to win here to get into Grand National. So the only thing is, Christian Williams horses are just ones I just can't catch. He's getting on the Tom Lacey, getting in the Tom Lacey box with me. That I just can't catch them. But I mean, Grand Jest won the Tommy Whittle, up £10 for that, but 129 not likely to be the ceiling of him after only 3 chase starts. So again, 3 to 1, short enough. Is it a race at yours? A bit like me, you can make a case for a few of them, and probably will bottle it and sit and watch.
Yeah, it's one of those races, Robert, that I did tip up King Turgeon in the paper, but of course, like all good Thursday tips, it was an on-runner on Friday. So there we go. King Turgeon is not going for David Pipe. So having had a look at the race again, it just strikes me as a race that come 12 o'clock on Saturday, I might have another look at it and might have an each way bet. But at the moment, you've summed it up perfectly. Grand Jest, or Grong Jest, whatever you want to say, and Deep Cave, the Christian Williams horse off top weight of 12 stone. Those are the 2 young pretenders. I think I even backed Docpickedme last time out to win, and I think his form figures at Doncaster speak for themselves. Charlie Maggs is a real good conditional jockey. I'm a big fan of his. So Richard Hobson's horse will go well, I'm pretty sure. So it is a race that I might look at on Saturday, but I'm certainly not going to tip anything up for it. What I will say about Christian Williams is that he was the only British trainer that sent a horse to Gowran Park this week, and he came back with some prize money as well. His horses are in really good form. There are some stages of the season that you wouldn't touch them with a barge pole, but his horses are in really good form, and that Deep Cave, I know he thinks a lot of. So you never know, it might be good enough to defy top weight, but actually going on the record and tipping something, no.
Yeah, I think I said that a Deep Cave up near the front. It won't be. They've got my pace maps here. A new order,
Yeah.
Grand Geste, Kelchi and Josh the Boss. So there's going to be a fair battle up top. So I'll be interested to see what Danny McMenamin does on Grand Geste, whether he gets involved in that or whether he just
Yeah.
maybe sits in behind a little bit. But it'll be a fascinating race to watch. But punting wise, no sure about it. Then we've also got the River Don there, Jim, 3 mile novice hurdle. We've got country code for the Jefferson stable, and I
Yeah,
think we both like that one.
we both do, and we both like the price as well. I think 8 to 1 is fantastic value. Ruth Jefferson's horse is running well. She doesn't run that many, so you know that she's got a good percentage that it is going well. James Bowen in the saddle. Now that's interesting. He's up there obviously to ride for Nicky Henderson. This will be the third jockey to ride this horse this season because Danny McMenamin and Craig Nicol both won on the horse when it won at Newcastle and Kelso. Newcastle caught my eye, but Kelso really jumped off the page to me. I thought that was a really tremendous performance, and he can only benefit going up another 2 furlongs to 3 miles. I think Country Code is a very, very good horse going forward. I'm hoping he's going to be good enough to win this Grade 2 at Donny. I noticed on Friday, Robert, a lot of non-runners at Doncaster because of the ground, so we'll see how that carries on to Saturday. But at the moment, Country Code is a runner, and I think as long as he's in there, he's well worth betting because I think if Ruth thought it was going to be too much for him, she would take him out. So Country Code is the one for both of us, although we do have to acknowledge it is a decent race. And there's also one coming over from Ireland, which I think we should keep an eye on, ridden by Sean O'Keefe, Darragh O'Keefe's brother, who doesn't get as many headlines over there, but he's a very good jockey, and he rides Paul Nolan's The Devil You Know. Paul is a big mate of Gordon Elliott. I think that'll be another one that'll be testing the water just to see what the staying novice hurdle form is like. So keep an eye on Paul Nolan's The Devil You Know. But like you, Country Code looks the one to be on.
And then there's a mare's Grade 2 at 1:30, Jim. Do you fancy anything in that?
Yeah, headlined one in the column this week, Robert. A horse called That'll Do Moss for Fergal O'Brien, going to be ridden by Johnny Burt. Now, the bizarre thing about this mare is that she went to Ayr last year for a novice hurdle, started at the ridiculous price of 10 to 1 on, 10 to 1 on, and was beaten. But she came out and proved that form was completely wrong by going over to Ireland and running well in a really big race. She's since run well in 2 listed races this season. And I think again, the step up to 3 miles on very, very soft ground is going to be right up her street. Again, I thought she was good value at 6 to 1. No doubt you'll tell me that's drifting as well, but I think 6 to 1 is not a bad price. I do think that will come in. There are other mares in this race, like Ruth Jefferson's La Vida Adiva, which will go well. Feet of a Dancer, the other Paul Nolan runner coming over to Doncaster, has to be respected as well. But I just think That'll Do Moss. Fergal really rates this mare, and I think 3 miles soft ground is the time to get her in a graded race. She's run really well at listed level, and I think she's well worth her place in this lineup and a good value bet as well.
Good, thanks, Jim. And then at 3:13, 2 mile handicap chase. Made the case for Mighty Bandit last week. That form of Mambo number 5 at Newbury. Franked again last weekend at Windsor with Highlands Legacy coming out and winning. Torneo, who was also in that race, was second. So that form looks really, really hot. Expensive purchase. The only thing I would say is it was taken out at Windsor because of the ground last week. So it would not surprise me at all if this horse is a non-runner. And I don't
Yeah.
like the price. 65 it opened up at. I don't really like the price, but I thought Mighty Bandit, if it lines up, would have a huge chance, but I've got doubts where they line up on really soft ground if that's the way it goes. So we'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully it drifts to a backable price. But what about Newcastle, Jim?
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the all weather. Obviously, we've been losing a lot of jumps meetings. I don't think we'll have that problem on Saturday, but there is a Saturday night meeting at Newcastle. I don't think Sunday's looking very good for the jumping, but a Saturday night meeting at Newcastle. I did have a 5 to 1 winning nap on the all weather there on Friday with Dingle for Julie Camacho, but I'm looking at 2 Jim Goldie horses, which look very, very well handicapped, have conditions in their favour in terms of trip as well. And those are Alpine Sierra in the 405. Anna Emirati in the 6:35. All you can say is that the Goldie horses are firing. Both of them have everything in their favour. They're on the right handicap marks, and they'll probably be decent prices to back as well. So without going overboard again, a couple to look out for in the all-weather, Alpine Sierra and Anna Emirati.
That's brilliant, Jim. Thanks very much. Good luck with your bets this weekend, folks.
Good luck, everyone. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us a like. We'll speak to you soon.